So I formerly was a pediatric nurse, still am, but I don't work at the bedside anymore. But and a lot of the things that I experienced was having kids who were requiring medical foster care. Some of them not even just medical, but some of them just waiting for a placement in foster care, waiting at the hospital and just staying there, and that becomes their temporary home until a placement's finally made. At what time in the night do you get these phone calls? Do you get them all hours of the night? Is it very structured and very, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5? I know that's not the case, but why don't you tell us about your experience?
Yeah, it's basically all of those. It depends on the removal. Sometimes the removal isn't deemed an emergency, and you have to go to court and get a court order to remove the child. And sometimes, let's say, you hear your neighbors arguing, and then you hear like hitting and whatnot, and you hear the children crying, and
Hmm.
you call in an anonymous call to there's an abuse hotline, and then the
Yeah.
police show up, and then if they deem like the children are being abused or they look malnourished or neglected, they would call the child services team in, and then they would remove the child on the spot. And at that point, they start looking for a placement, maybe not even a permanent placement. Sometimes they'll call in the middle of the night, hey, can you have this child in your home, even if it's just till the morning until we figure out something more permanent. So it's
Hmm.
just different situations and different situations. I mean, we've had a
Yeah.
1.5 year old in the middle of the night where he came, he had, um, black eyes, a bloody nose. My wife
Oh.
took him to the hospital the next day, and the nurses basically said they saw him in the same hospital about 6 months ago with a fractured skull. So he was 1 year old with the fractured
Oh.
skull. He
Oh.
was definitely afraid of adults, nonverbal, things like his mom prostituted out of the apartment. So for him to be quiet, she would beat him so he wouldn't talk and, like stay in the closet or whatever. So there's just like crazy stories like that. That's just kind of one of them. But each
Yeah.
story has, its own kind of nuances and
Right.
different things in terms of what those kids have experienced, which is a lot of the times very traumatic, more so than some of the adults I know in terms of
Right.
what they went through at such a young age.